Hong Kong's leader CY Leung has said the need for economic growth outweighs calls for greater democracy, in his first annual policy address since last year's pro-democracy protests. Mr. Leung said Hong Kong would degenerate into anarchy if it gave in to demands for universal suffrage. The speech was delayed as several pro-democracy members staged a protest in the legislature urging him to resign. Hong Kong's pro-democracy street protests came to an end in December. In the opening remarks of his speech to the Legislative Council, which was also posted online, Mr. Leung said Hong Kong had to make a choice between implementing universal suffrage and a standstill in the economy. He said he recognized the aspirations of the mostly student protesters who had paralyzed parts of Hong Kong for more than 2 months last year calling for universal suffrage. But he said they did not fully understand Hong Kong's laws, and that the territory had never been promised total political autonomy. The reforms to take place in 2017, under which people will be able to vote directly for the chief executive but from a list of candidates approved by Beijing, were a big step forward for Hong Kong's democratic development. As we pursue democracy, we should act in accordance with the law, or Hong Kong will degenerate into anarchy, he warned. He also promised to generate more affordable housing in Hong Kong, a major issue in the wealthy but small territory, by announcing a new subsidized housing scheme. Mr. Leung's speech was delayed by several minutes after members of the pan-democratic bloc walked through the Legislative Council waving yellow umbrellas, a symbol of the protest movement, and banners calling for universal suffrage and for Mr. Leung to resign. Pro-democracy members Raymond Chan and Albert Chan were removed from the chamber by security guards, while about 20 others walked out. One legislator, Albert Ho, said Mr. Leung was simply acting as a messenger for the Beijing government and Beijing authority and not in the interests of Hong Kong's people. China's government has said that while there will be a free vote for the leadership in 2017, there should only be 2 to 3 candidates, chosen by a pro-Beijing committee. Last year's protesters wanted full democracy and for Mr. Leung, who was himself elected by a committee of 1,200 people, to resign, but he repeatedly refused. While tens of thousands of people took part in the initial demonstrations which paralyzed parts of central Hong Kong, numbers had fallen to a few hundred, mostly students, by the time police and bailiffs dismantled the last camps in mid-December.